Reality or hoax? It's a question we ask ourselves on a regular basis. Today, we'll be looking at the mythical, or maybe miraculous city of Agartha. So, let's dive right in and get to the bottom of it. Agartha. It is a name that you might recognize, but let's refresh your memory and add a few things to it. This location is the enigmatic hidden city that has captivated the imagination of many throughout the years. It is said to be a mythical realm that is hidden in the hearts of many. Unlike places like Camelot and Atlantis, it isn't so much a physical place that you can travel to, not in the traditional sense anyway. Agartha is believed to exist beneath the Earth's surface, under the realms of the living that is known to us today, mere mortals. Shrouded in mystery and lore, it is often associated with ancient civilizations that were far more in tune with the Earth and its essence than we are today. It has evolved in a way to the way we think now. However, it depends on what you define as knowledge and what is important. There's also talk of its esoteric teachings that understand the complexities of life beyond the hegemony. It is in these texts and thoughts that we discover the possibility of an advanced subterranean world. Can you imagine how different the world could be if we focused on societal betterment rather than individual progress? Can you imagine Agartha? While there's no scientific evidence supporting the existence, it is something with an allure that persists as a fascinating aspect of folklore and pseudoscience. And what can't be proven often can't be disproven either. There certainly isn't much research going on to find out the truth, and weirder things have happened, right? After all, we don't quite know exactly how the pyramids were constructed, yet they are standing tall. But more about Agartha, because that's what you're really here for, right? Besides, if you're going to make an informed decision, then you'll need to know all the facts, or at least what we think we know. Before we do, let's quickly look at what the city could be. We know it's evolved, but we also know that it's subterranean. But what does that actually mean? For one thing, it means that it's more progressed than our civilizations, and for another, it means that its inhabitants dwell below the Earth's crust, if there are any. The concept of the city has roots in various cultural and religious traditions, which makes it seem all the more real. If you think about the diverse cultures of the world, and yet when it comes to similarities found in Hindu, Tibetan, and Western esoteric beliefs, Agartha remains, albeit under different names. In Hinduism, there is a belief in a subterranean realm called Patala, which is often linked to Agartha by those that believe in the existence of the place. As for the other cultures, the scriptures and accounts of Tibetan Buddhism tell us of a hidden land known as Shambhala. This is a phrase you might be familiar with, but many not know the meaning of. For a quick recap, it is believed to be a sanctuary of wisdom and the utmost enlightenment. Regarding the Western esoteric traditions, which are influenced by theosophy and other mystical movements, have also contributed to the mystique surrounding Agartha in a multitude of interesting ways. But for now, let's talk history, or as much of a history as can be documented about a place we aren't necessarily sure even exists. One of the earliest references to the city can be traced back to Theophist Helena Petrovna Blavatsky's work, who you may not have heard of until this video. But chances are, if you've delved into the rabbit hole that is Agartha already, you probably already have. In the late 19th century, Blavatsky wrote about Agartha in her book called The Secret Doctrine, which is a read we can highly recommend. According to her teachings that we can take from the book, Agartha was a vast underground city inhabited by spiritually evolved beings. These were known as the Masters of Wisdom, or Adepts. These beings were said to possess advanced knowledge and were dedicated to guiding the spiritual evolution of humanity. However, what we don't know is whether these were enlightened humans, aliens, or divine beings. Whatever they are, it sounds like we could really advance with their knowledge, which would mean taking a trip to Agartha. But to do that, we need to dive deeper into the literature. The legend of Agartha gained further prominence and more notoriety and influence through the writings of Nicholas and Helena Roerich. These two were a Russian couple who embarked on a Central Asian expedition in the early 20th century, working together to explore the seemingly unexplored. The Roerichs claim to have encountered the mystical city of Shambhala, which, as we have already established, is often considered synonymous with the mythical city of mystery. Their accounts added a layer of mysticism to the concept, blending it almost seamlessly with the search for a utopian, spiritually enlightened realm, which has been explored and insinuated on so many texts. So, if someone has visited it, it must be a real place, correct? Intriguingly, some proponents of Agartha, those who believe in the existence of the city, posit the theory that it is not just a spiritual concept, but a tangible, physical place beneath the Earth's crust, which means that it's there and verifiable. According to these theories, entry points to Agartha exist at various locations around the world. There are quite a few hypotheses as to where these are, like the North and South Poles. This is where, according to various legends, there are hidden passages which supposedly lead to the subterranean city. But how do we gain this information? Well, it is actually pretty straightforward. These theories are often drawn on anecdotes of explorers who claim to have ventured into vast underground caverns. Now, short of a lie detector, it's hard to verify these claims. And even then, there is more than one layer of truth in the world, since truth is simply a generalized acceptance gained from experience. Whether we can trust these accounts is debatable. What they do provide, however, is potential for credibility based on the many similarities they share. Some say that is because of limited distinguishing factors between caves, while others say there are many variables, so Agartha must exist. Where do you stand on the usefulness of the eyewitness accounts? We'd like to know, so be sure to let us know in the comments section. And while you're there, please do us a favor and leave a like. It takes a lot of time to make these videos, and we would love to make more. But our success depends on your interaction. More importantly, each like tells us what you'd like to see more of. But back to Agartha and one of the many theories surrounding it. The Hollow Earth hypothesis is one which, although not directly connected, is closely associated with the hidden city of Agartha. This notion suggests that the Earth is not a solid sphere, but is actually a hollow shell with an inner sun, which is somewhat substantiated by the fact scientific evidence tells us that the core is unreachably hot. Admittedly, we believe it to be magma at the core, but there's no saying what would happen if a sun were encapsulated. This inner world is thought to be inhabited, and according to many who subscribe to the theory, Agartha is believed to be one of the principal cities. Of course, if this were to be true, they would have to have an incredibly strong heat resistance, but who knows what evolution can do. Even recently, there has been life discovered in underwater active volcanoes, and what we know about the depths is barely a scratch on the surface. But it's not just that which connects believers to this theory. Proponents of this idea claim that the entrance to the location are concealed, guarded, or camouflaged to prevent discovery by surface dwellers. You know, like in the North or South Pole, far from prying eyes. So, what do you think? While the concept of Agartha remains speculative and lacks empirical or scientific evidence, it continues to inspire a wide world of fiction, art, and esoteric discussions that must be rooted in something. In literature, Agartha is often featured in adventure novels, science fiction, and fantasy tales, which doesn't necessarily add to the credibility. This is because writers and artists find creative freedom and artistic license when they are exploring the mysteries of this hidden city. They develop the lore, weaving narratives that blend elements of science, spirituality, and the fantastical, so they need to be filtered carefully by those seeking the truth. What remains regardless is a fascination. What many have come to see is that the enduring appeal of Agartha may lie in its symbolic significance, making it a place like heaven, purgatory, hell, or nirvana. As a hidden realm of wisdom and enlightenment, it serves to represent the eternal quest for knowledge and self-discovery that we all have programmed within us. Whether we decide to see Agartha as a metaphorical concept or a physical location, the city invites us to wonder and to contemplate the mysteries of existence. It extends our beliefs on the limits of human understanding and allows for the possibility of hidden realms beyond our ordinary perception, something that we constantly strive to be elevated and enlightened from. In conclusion, Agartha remains a captivating and elusive concept that may actually be more than it seems. It may be an actual location existing at the intersection of mythology, spirituality, enlightenment, and pseudoscience that is yet to be taken more seriously. Whatever it is a worldwide understanding that is rooted in diverse cultural traditions. There is some evidence in the form of qualitative personal accounts, but it's somewhat blurred by the creative side that comes from intrigue. We also have writings from mystics and explorers which serve no real purpose on a financial level. So it seems to us that the legend of Agartha may have solid foundations, literally and figuratively. Either way, it continues to inspire curiosity, imagination, and searches. Whether you consider the city of Agartha to be a metaphorical realm of enlightenment or a physical city beneath the Earth's surface, one thing is absolutely sure. Agartha and the legend surrounding it invites us to think further on the boundaries of reality and the enduring human quest for the unknown. Thank you for watching today's video. We really hoped you enjoyed watching it as much as we loved researching and making it. Until next time, please support the channel by liking, commenting, and subscribing. And don't forget to ring the bell to receive notifications so that you never miss an intriguing and exciting upload. Have a great day. Enlightenment awaits.